don't be discouraged. If you get a rejection, so what? Like, you need to understand there were thousands of other people applying. Like, it doesn't reflect badly on you. It just says, okay, there was somebody who's better. Just try to learn. Say, okay, what did that person do better than I did? There's no shame in it. And if you didn't pass an interview, ask on HR, like, okay, what was my feedback? I mean, that's valuable. So the next time you go interview, don't make the same mistakes.
Welcome everybody to the StudentID podcast. We're so happy to be back on another episode. And a lot of accolades, this guy, Joe, and a good friend of mine. And we're really happy to have you on today, Nick, for this conversation.
No, thank you very much for both having me here. It's a pleasure, and I'm very excited to get started.
Well, let's get right into it. Our first question is a bit of a stinger, but I think it's a good one. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
It's a great question. Determined. I would do passionate, and I would do outgoing.
I like that.
Okay, Leopold was actually super curious about your answer. He was like, I don't know what he's going to say.
Yeah, I
think that fits your personality and yourself quite well.
I think there's
opinion.
I think there's some, like, I would like to do some phrases. Maybe that would be better. But
Yeah.
it's like 3 words, so it's a bit challenging.
Yeah, but maybe you can expand on those words.
I mean, for determined, I think I have some visions and, where I want how things to be, and, my future with my friends as well. I want to make sure I'm determined to have everything in my life to the best it can be. So I think that's the one part. I think the next part is, you can have determination, but you need the passion. So, you need to be able to be passionate about what you do, because then you'll, have the extra effort to continue to be determined and disciplined. And that way you kind of can fulfill it. Because I think if you're not passionate, what's the point of doing anything? And I think the last part is outgoing. I think I linked to the phrases I was saying I'm very outgoing because I love people. I like to be with people, interacting with people. But yeah, for me, that was where I was going for outgoing. So yeah.
And I'm just thinking, like, have you always been that determined, like willing to put the extra effort to reach what you want?
No, not at all. I mean, like, I remember, life has taken many turns, and I think I learned it as, like, over many years. So I think in high school, I kind of started learning, okay, hey, you need to take things seriously. And then, I had a few very key people in my life that showed me, hey, like, you shouldn't slack, you should really give everything your all. And I think over time I have learned to be very determined about what I want to get. And I think, honestly, I can only thank those people in my life that have shown me how to do that.
So it's more about the people instead of the moment, or?
Yeah, I mean, for example, I used to be quite overweight. I like my food too much. And then I decided to start running, and then I had a running coach who I started in 10th grade, so I was around 15. And, he saw that I had a lot of potential, and then from him, he was like, say, look, hey, if you really want to train, you want to be good, this is what you got to do, and you need some determination, I ran with it. No pun intended. Literally no pun intended. And yeah, it worked out for the best. So it was good.
I think that's what I see in you, is that everything that you do, you put so much intensity and so much intentionality in it. But how do you prioritize that? So how do you find a way, like, because it can get too much at some points. If you put everything into everything, you have to have some sort of ranking. How do you manage that?
No, and that's a great question. I think that's something that I'm still learning how to do. I mean, the very mechanical process is saying, okay, what has the highest priority and what has the nearest deadline? So that's the way I try to think about it. I also have the mentality, okay, one thing at a time. So I know nowadays a lot of people say they're very good multitaskers. So they can have the TV on the background, texting their friends while they're still studying, etc. And they'll be going through different tabs. I kind of like to keep it very simple. I have one job for the next hour. Just focus on that one job, give it my all, and then once the hour is done, we move on to something else.
So let's go into your path from high school in London to the university. How did you choose ESADE? Why did you come here in specific? Why Spain? Take us through that.
No, that's a great question. I did the International Baccalaureate. And maybe for some context, my high levels were high level mathematics analysis, I did high level history, and I did high level economics. And then I applied. I was always going to do some in the UK and some in Europe, because of course I'm half Greek, half Dutch. I always say, okay, it would be nice to go back to Europe. And then honestly, I applied, got into different places, got rejected, as we all did. And then I saw a StudentID with the course. Actually, it was by chance, because my mom was applying to Sweden and the Stockholm School of Economics. And he said, "Are you applying to other universities?" And on the list was a StudentID. So we just checked it out. I found the course that we're doing, me and Leopold, which is Global Governance, Economics and Legal Order, which I thought was a very nice transition from doing my high levels into an actual university subject. And then, I mean, Barcelona is a great city. I said I'll come here, learn a language, experience a new culture. You know, I always lived in London, so and that's culturally diverse. But even for me, I was saying, okay, I want something different. And yeah, I think those were kind of like the ideas that I had, and man, it's been a great choice and never regretted.
Is there something that surprised you here? Like, did it reach your expectations? Is there something that you were surprised, disappointed about?
I mean, I think I've definitely loved my experience. Things that have surprised me about ESADE, I mean, I think ESADE is a great institution, and I think what surprised me is that it has a lot of potential to grow. So I think, you know, our course, for example, is in only its third iteration, and it's improved a lot, but I still see a lot of potential to improve. And I think for me that was surprising, because you go to these big institutions and you think, okay, everything is set in stone, you know, things have been doing for years and they're never going to change. And I think in ESADE, that's what surprised me, is the opportunity to change the institution. And things that have been disappointing, the fact that shops aren't open on Sundays, I think is unacceptable, especially coming from London.
Everything is open in London?
Yeah, everything's open on Sundays. You can go to the supermarket. You can.
You learned that the hard way. Right?
I learned that the hard way. Yeah. So no, that's something that I have not gotten used to, even after 2.5 years.
I mean, there's worse. Sunday rest day. Or Sunday push day.
Sundays are just a day, man.
I mean,
it's the same day of the week.
It's the only problem. It seems like it's kind of very cool here.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, I mean, life's good here. I miss my friends in London, but
of course.
I think that's also shown me something else about life. You know, when you move, you know, how do you maintain friendships back home? But I mean, for sure, I've loved it, and like I said, never regretted.
And so, can you describe maybe the GEL program to someone that doesn't know it, to first year, or how it's evolved since your first year to your third year now?
That's a great thing. I think when I introduce the course, I don't say Global Governance, Economics and Legal Order specialized in economics, because it's a very long name. I think I just say economics and international relations. But essentially, that's for me, because I'm doing the economics track.
I say it the other way around.
Exactly. So if you're doing the politics, you say I've done politics with international relations.
Because you have two choices, you have two tracks.
Exactly. So in the first year, and I think it's a very nice design, that you do kind of a core subject with everybody. So you do macro, you do kind of public policies, you do international institutions, you have some elective classes like Introduction to International Relations, Introduction to Political Science. So you get a very good broad base, and then you can then choose which track you do. So I myself did economics, Leopold did politics, and then from there you do more and more specialization in each track.
How's it been? Like, how would you compare the GEL economics to maybe your friends in BBA? The classes, like, do you feel like because you're so economics oriented, you would have fit in as well in BBA? Or do you look back on it and say, maybe I should have chosen BBA? Or are you happy with your choice with GEL?
No, I'm very happy with my choice. I think that's links to what I explained with my IB. Was that I did mathematics and I did economics, and I both at a higher level, but I loved history. I loved the politics. So I said, I don't want to lose that going into uni. I mean, I was doing other courses that I was applying to, which was like economic history. So for me, it was always key to have that kind of more politics aspect. And in terms of comparing BBA and GEL, I mean, I'll always have the forever argument, which one's harder. I just think you can't compare apples with oranges. They're just two very different courses.
Doesn't matter at the end.
It doesn't matter at the end. You know, we're all coming from ESADE, which is a great name. And I think there are some similarities, but I think, you know, BBA has maybe some of those marketing or finance or corporate kind of subjects. And I think GEL has those politics subjects that I think, you know, makes the two courses very different.
I was just thinking about what you say, because it was just so curious to me that you're doing GEL, because I've seen that you have an interest in finance.
Yes.
How do you combine those?
No,
I mean, you don't have to combine them anyway.
No, well, it's a great question, and actually, it's a very important question, especially from the Finance Society, that we don't want just BBA people, because I think we value a very different, like, people with different perspectives. For me, you know, I look at finance, and I always have the ability to look at it also from an international perspective. So we say, okay, US-China trade war, you know, okay, this is a very geopolitics matter, but that will affect financial markets. So depending on how the government is going to subsidize certain sectors, will we see growth? Will we see tariffs, and that will affect businesses? So for me, I have that perspective. Somebody from BBA has a different perspective. And yeah, I really like finance, and I think maybe that's something that I've discovered over university, and it's a career that I'm pursuing. So yeah, but I'm trying to combine the two.
And why do you think you like finance?
It's a great question. No, I think...
Because not lots of people do.
No, not lots of
but
people
what's the thing behind it?
So I think it's been a long history for me. Like, when I used to go to Greece every summer, I was taken to the markets, like kind of vegetable markets.
It's interesting.
And my granddad had like a relationship with one of the vendors, and he would put me behind the stand, and I'd be shouting, "Hey, come and fill up your bags with oranges." And it was a first experience to what a market kind of is. And I was a child, I had no idea. And he was saying, "Okay, now it's 1 a.m. We're going to lower the prices." "Why are you doing that?" He said, "Well, now we have more supply in the market, so therefore we're going to have to lower it because we're competing against the stall next door to us." It went over my head. I didn't understand it. But, it was there. It was always that kind of idea. I think the second part is that I like the environment in finance. I think, as Leopold knows me, I'm somebody very determined, as I said in the beginning. And I like the environment of being pushed to your limits and beyond. So I think, for me, there are very few industries that do that. And that's, in particular, why I would like to go into finance. And yeah, I think also for me, I like the world of business. I think it's very interesting. I think you learn a lot. And I think from there, you can always then progress your career in going into different sectors.
Well, you've kind of integrated the finance world already. You've been a spring intern last year at Credit Suisse.
Yeah.
So how was that? What did you learn from that experience, and how was the whole process?
It was great. I was very unlucky, to be honest, going for Credit Suisse because the bank had some trouble afterwards. But, the process was a massive eye-opener. And I think probably the first thing I would like to say to anybody applying is, firstly, take it as a massive learning experience. Don't be scared of rejection, and keep going. I got rejected 16 times, and I had top grades. I had all the experience in the world, but I didn't know how to write a proper cover letter, or my CV was not formatted well, or in the interview I didn't say the right things. These are all like little failures that you will then learn, and then eventually I did it right for Credit Suisse. I learned, and the experience was great. Even though the bank had some troubles, that did not compromise the spring week. I learned a lot. We learned about sales and trading, equities research, which is just basically like research about the stock market. And then we had the investment banking division, which is basically looking at mergers and acquisitions.
So when you were doing your internship, there was the crisis, or there was a problem that you were facing?
Yeah, so it kind of happened a couple of weeks before, and then UBS bought Credit Suisse because the bank was at fear of being bankrupt, and there was going to be a massive financial implosion if they didn't. So that happened before, and then kind of during our spring weeks was kind of still in the process, and the bank is still in the process of being integrated with UBS. But so it was very interesting because the employers were saying look, this is something that came from above management, so we have no influence. We're just kind of rolling with the punches.
We're still doing our job.
Yeah, we're still doing our job, and to be honest, the next day was the same as every other day, just with this information, but it did make no difference.
But how was it interacting with other finance passionate, determined people outside of SADE in like a different work environment? Was it more like cooperation because you're still interns, or was it very competitive already?
So they're very competitive people. When I went to my spring week, they were very competitive in nature, but sometimes in a good way and sometimes in a bad way. And I think that's always very important when you talk about competition, that it's not a bad thing. If you have good competition, you encourage each other, you help out each other, and when it comes to the final exam, everybody does their best. But it was generally very collaborative. We had the case study for the acquisition negotiation. It was super fun. And somebody had done biology, so they had no idea how it works, but you explain to them, okay, this is the very basic idea. And then you have somebody who is doing a bachelor in finance. Okay, they have all the technical knowledge, but they don't, for example, know how to do a proper presentation to present to the to kind of the jury. So therefore, okay, somebody who's doing politics, who's good at public speaking, like I think myself, that's where I can come in. Yeah. So and I think that's something that happens when you go to jobs, is that you find people with complementary skills and try to put them in together to get a good team. And I think that's what's important.
And can you just tell us what's Spring Week?
Oh yeah, of course. No. I mean,
Exactly.
no. Yeah, sorry. I should probably start off with that. I mean, to get into finance, it's a long road, as they say. It's a tough one as well. But there are different stages, and I think a Spring Week is just try to get a taster of what it's like to be in an investment bank or in a financial institution. You just go there for a week. They show you the different departments. So as I said, we did one on trading, one on research, and one on investment banking. And then from there, it's also kind of a fast track in order to get hired, because the bank already sees you. They see how you're interacting. They say, okay, does this person have potential? But yeah, it's just a taster basically of
So
the
it's
finance
just
world.
1 week.
Yeah, I mean for me it was 3 days. So
Okay.
and for other places it was 2. So I think it varies between bank to bank, but it's just for a short experience.
But so what happens at the end? Like you take everyone's contact and you talk to them, or you do a cocktail with them and you discuss? I don't know.
Yeah, so from the intern level, like you always try to make sure you network with people. These are people who probably you'll be working with in the future. So good to build
Or competitors.
or competitors. I mean, but it's always good to
to know who's on the phone with
exactly who's on the phone, who is out there. And in terms of kind of the career progression, normally what happens is that at the end they do interviews. If you would like a summer placement in the following year. Now with me with Credit Suisse it was a bit unfortunate because you didn't have that opportunity because the bank was having troubles. But I mean, still the learning experiences were very good.
And what's your networking tip?
Oh, that's a great question. My networking tip: be as responsive as possible. Especially we're starting off our careers. We are little shrimp in a massive ocean, so we are very unimportant, and people who you're contacting are for sure way more important than you. So it should be that you are replying as fast as possible and not expecting that on their side. I think I contacted I don't know how many hundreds of people to kind of land some kind of internship, etc. And sometimes they reply, great. If not, no worries, you keep going. And if they do reply, be as responsive, ask immediately, be understanding of their very busy lives. And yeah, just kind of be very respectful as well.
That has gotten you places for now. You just
Yeah.
You just got an internship, right?
I did.
HSBC, the summer internship, so investment banking. Talk to us about what that means for you and what that means post-graduation as well, maybe 2025, what it means for your career following.
For me, when I understood I wanted to go into finance, and the career services in Estella were really helpful. They really helped me explain the process. Okay, what are the steps you need to take, because it's a long journey. And it's been a 3-year project kind of. So, because I got my first summer internship back in first year of uni. I worked for 3 months at a think tank where I made sure I was writing articles about financial policy making. Then I worked hard to get into the Finance Society. I got a Spring Week. I worked up within the Finance Society to become president, which I am now. Then you had the whole task of, learning the technicals by yourself. You are doing, I don't come from a finance background, so you're basically doing 3 courses of finance in a summer of maybe 3-4 weeks, and trying to prepare and everything. So it's very intense.
What is this?
Part of the interviews are technicals. So you need to have a good technical understanding of, how do we value a company? Or, what happens in accounting when something changes? And this kind of goes on and on and on. And because we don't do any finance classes until the 3rd year, I had to learn it all by myself.
Okay.
So, and then you have the process of writing cover letters, CVs, and then you try to talk to people and say, okay, can I get a reference here and there? And then you have the interviews, which I will not lie are difficult.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot about how to do an interview with every experience you have. So it's been a massive journey, and honestly, I'm very thankful.
Every little bit adds up. Like it's every grain of salt.
Yeah, no.
Gets you another step forward. So
no, exactly.
that's inspiring. Yeah, to
Exactly.
see that like you put so much work, so much effort, and like at the end, it amounted to something. Of course, that's not the ultimate objective, but it's encouraging for the people that are trying to do all these things as well.
No, exactly. And I think just a comment, like that's what I said in the beginning is don't be discouraged. If you get a rejection, so what? Like you need to understand there were thousands of other people applying. Like it doesn't reflect badly on you. It just says, okay, there was somebody who's better. Just try to learn. Say, okay, what did that person do better than I did? There's no shame in it. And if you did something, if you didn't pass an interview, ask on the HR, like, okay, what was my feedback? I mean, that's valuable.
Yeah.
So the next time you go interview, don't make the same mistakes.
And can you tell us a bit more about like how a study brought you or didn't bring you tools to like help you to evolve in your career path, to define it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think ESAD is a great institution of this, especially like its career services were super helpful. You have to put in the legwork. I'll say that from the start. They're not holding your hand in the process. You have to do the application. They're not doing it for you. You have to learn the stuff. They're not doing that for you. But for example, I did maybe 3-4 mock interviews, each half an hour long. I mean, we are so many students. That's very nice of them to do. Especially in a bigger university, we wouldn't have that option. In terms of classes, teachers are, if you ask nicely, teachers are very willing to take 5-10 minutes out of their day to explain some accounting rules that nobody has ever talked about in your life, and you'll probably never hear it apart from the textbook that you're reading. But it was very good. And of course, student associations, for whatever career path you want, they are super helpful. I mean, finance, yeah, okay, it's good to be in a finance site if you want to get into finance, but I mean, even if you're doing this podcast, learning how do we run an organization, how are we managing a budget, I mean, how we manage people, those are skills that I think ESADE is its unique selling proposition.
We didn't pay him to say that.
No, that's and the administration didn't pay me to say that either. That's coming from the heart.
Because we said that ourselves, like associations are so valuable in university experience, and at ESADE, just like many other universities, but they really give out some resources. Like we have access to this media room.
I mean, amazing.
Exactly. If you look for the resources, most of them are there. So we see that you're very active in the campus life, and we see that you are taking full advantage of these resources. You talked about being president of the Finance Society. Yes. How has that role been for you now, and what management tips maybe do you have, or do you use?
Yeah, no, I mean, firstly, it's not just me. I have a massive team behind me, and I always have to give them credit. They work really hard, and I have Carlota as my vice president. She's super helpful in helping me manage 89 people in the society.
89 people?
We're 89. We're, I think, the biggest, if I'm not second biggest in the society this year. And I have Tatiana, who's doing the marketing, and she's doing an excellent job. I'm super happy. And Maria Gregor, who's managing the books, which for finance is very important. We can't mess up on that one. Yeah. So I mean, for me, I'm the president, but I have a great management team. The role is good. You learn a lot. It's not easy. I have my own personal life, as with everybody else, and to understand that, you need to say, okay, albeit everything happening in your life, can we focus on this society, and can we actually make events, and can we deliver to the expectations that we've given people. Finance society took a bit of a downturn in the past couple of years. That's fine. We can admit it. We took a downturn, and now we're here to build it back up. And Joanne, last year's president, did that, and I'm here to build upon it. In terms of lessons that I can, so far learned, proactive for sure. And yeah, really try to get other people excited about this. So, if you have a head and he has a project, try to give him the responsibility of this project and say, look, this is up to you to do. That comes with a lot of trust. Yeah, but try to get other people motivated. And I think if you do that from my role to the heads, if the heads can do that for the people working, then it kind of goes on, and then you really get something going.
What are the objectives of the Finance Society?
Basically, the sales pitch I always have is, our job is to get you a job. So what we try to do is we try to give our members and the wider StudentID community the opportunity to get into finance. It's a very competitive industry. It's 1% for every bank. So, you have hundreds of thousands of people applying, and just to get into the rounds is an incredibly difficult point. I mean, the first round, they reject 70% of the people. So it's tough. It's really tough. We try to do this by first building their technical skills. So, don't have to learn everything in a couple of weeks over the summer, but try to kind of have the good general basis.
How do you do that? Do you study together?
We try to give them resources to understand, we try to give them some news articles that are recently been, kind of happening. We put them in the group chat. And then we try to do events. So different events give you a different taster of the different jobs in finance. So we have an asset management competition that we're currently in the plans for. What is it like to be in asset management? Because that's different from being in emerging acquisitions. And then, networking is very important. If you network with people in the society, these are people who, again, might be in the industry later on when you're working, or networking with speakers who might, potentially help you get a job later.
You're involved in other jobs as well. You've been delegate for the gel for 3 years, and I'm very thankful for it.
You're welcome.
How has that been for you? Do you feel like a delegate now to your peers, or more like a student still? How does that work for you in the dynamics?
That's a tough question, actually.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'm one delegate. My other delegate is Mark, Mark
Mhm.
Basola. So I cannot do my job without him. He does a great job and he really helps out, and we work very well as a team together. In terms of that student-delegate relationship, I think it's not big of a deal. That's how I treat it. Not a big a deal. Like, I'm just another student like you who is willing to help out. If you want to ask questions, ask for it. I'm kind of like the predisposed person to say, okay, if something needs to get done, I'll send an email out. Or we don't like something happening in the class. Okay, I'm happy to go and talk to the teacher and see what we can do. I think for me, like, I'm just another student. I've just kind of been given the designated role to just do the legwork.
Yeah.
That's how I see the role.
Did you face a tough situation? What's that?
As a delegate, all the time. I think as a delegate, you learn how to manage a conflict of interest between different people, even with yourself. Like, your classmate wants something, and from your experience, you say, that's a terrible idea. But you have to say, okay, be it what I believe, I'll tell them what I think, but I have to do what they want.
Yeah.
Everything has to be very democratic, and I think that's important because, even if we're doing a politics class, we have to promote the democratic values and how we like to do our own political system. But many conflicts. I think what I try to do is, okay, let's have everybody speak out in a respectful way of what their opinions are. I think just by doing that, people already kind of come to a consensus. Okay, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. We're going to come to the middle ground. And I think from there is just say, okay, take that, and how can I then communicate to a teacher who's going to take that information and say, okay, yeah, we can do that. Because if you don't frame the information the right way, they might say, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't like that idea, etc., etc.
Is there something that someone told you that you remember is like a tip that really impacted you?
Many. I mean, I think, like I said, I've had many people in my life who have helped me out and have really kind of directed me in the right way. Leopold knows I'm always a big fan of Kobe Bryant. I mean, I don't know all the basketball stats, but at least his mentality.
Can I just say something? I don't know if it's out of place, but is it a basketball player that died in a plane?
Yeah, in a helicopter accident.
Okay.
Yeah. So, no, and that's very tragic because I'll never get to meet my hero. But honestly, for him, it's the mentality. And I think something that he said that I was like, okay, you should try to inspire somebody else and then inspire somebody else afterwards. And that's it. That's what I just said was like, okay, if I can inspire my head to be passionate, then maybe he can inspire the people under him to also be passionate about this. So I think for me, that is a quote that I really said, okay, coming into this role, I want to do. And I think that's something that I've taken on. And yeah, it works sometimes, it doesn't work, but it's something you should strive for.
You are in the student council,
Yes.
and you are doing something about exchange student, and you're
Yes.
trying to work towards give them more social experiences. So how does it work? What are you doing there in the?
Mr. Integration Officer.
Yeah, integration of that's the name. I mean, look, StudentID is growing as an institution. We are getting more international students, and therefore it's important to kind of take care of the international students. Spanish students will find other Spanish students. Italians will also find other Italians. French as well. Germans. These are big nationalities. You come in big chunks, but there's some students who you say, okay, as a Greek myself, I don't know many Greeks in Asade, and sometimes I say, okay, I would like to experience my culture again.
Yeah.
Kind of. I left my country and I'm here, and
Where are my people?
where are my people? So exactly. So we try to do in Student Council is work with CIE Association, because that's the International Students Association, and see how from administration's perspective and their perspective, what sort of benefits can we do together.
And how is it to be part of the student council?
Great. I mean, it's another wonderful team. Marta's doing a fantastic job as president, Jorge as well as vice. My head, Helena, is also a great leader, and she's really inspiring our team, as all the other heads are doing an excellent job. Yeah, it's a great team. I'm the only non-Spanish speaker, so it's been a very interesting experience personally. How to experience a different language, different working culture. How things are done in Spain is very different how things are done back in the UK. And I think that has been a really good learning experience from a personal side. And I think what's great is that the Student Council has been able to accommodate me not speaking very good Spanish, and has allowed me to still do my role to the best of my abilities.
Because is it just for Spanish speakers?
No, not at all. Not at all. The student council is always open to all people. The student council made a conscious decision to say we have to be more open. You know, now in the application process, they kind of do say, please, if you are a non-Spanish speaker, don't be afraid.
Hesitate, yeah.
Don't hesitate. Please do apply.
Mm-hmm.
Just this year, so happened with all the candidates that we ended up again with all Spanish speakers.
Yeah.
But we also want to encourage more international people to come in.
We have a special question from your mate that you've talked about as well, Mark. We have the segment where we like to ask friends of our guests
Oh God! All right.
to ask questions so that we're not the only ones doing the interview. So here we go.
Hey Nick, how are you? I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Many people know you as a very hardworking person, and they admire you for it, myself included, for your ability to take numerous roles and positions and being part of a lot of associations, conferences, and different activities. And my question to you is, what is the reason why you do all of this? What is it that really motivates you to take up all these roles and be involved in so many different things in ESADE and outside?
Thank you, Mark, for that.
Wow.
And now, Nick, on to you.
I got a moment to think about that. That's
Yeah.
tough. Okay, I'll break it down. So first of all, how can I do all these different roles in ESADE? I think first of all, ESADE provides the role, and I think second part is I'm very ambitious and we want to see where my limit is and say, can I go further? So that's kind of like maybe the basis we start off with. The second thing is, at least from my perspective, if you really want it, it's not that tough to do all these roles. You just need to be very good with your time efficiency. So, I don't sleep in until 8:39. Like I'm waking up at, the alarm goes at 6:45 and then I have the 15 minutes of real leeway where I'm saying, okay, then I get up at 7 and the day starts. And then you say, okay, let's go. What do I have today? I plan my schedule out. And at least for me, what I've really done and what I've learned through uni is how to be efficient with my time. So to really say every hour of the day, what can I do to be able to manage my schedule? And I think, a lot of people, if they just start saying, okay, what can I cut out of my day that is useless? The 15 minutes on your phone, that's 15 minutes. That if you think you run like a 5K in a fast pace around 20 minutes, that 20 minutes that you spend sitting on your phone, you could have run a 5K. That's the kind of like if you start having that mentality, you start saying, whoa, I have 24 hours in a day. Let's say I sleep 6, 7, 8 is normally good, but sometimes it's difficult. There's a lot of time in the day, a lot of time to do stuff. As some Leopold, knows, I don't have a laptop open in class. So in class, I'm doing classwork. I'm not, as kind of said in the beginning, I'm not focusing on different things.
Are you write everything by hand?
Everything by hand.
Okay.
So maybe that's a learning technique, I don't know, but for me...
Seems efficient.
Seems efficient, but I only focus on class time. And when class finishes, I have maybe some time with friends, but I say, okay, I'm not going to spend 2 hours with my friends. I see them every day, okay? We have a nice conversation, and then I have time to do work. So I'm going to have time to study, time to do the finance society, time to do student council, time to do, I'm also in Dawn, time to do merger sites.
Yeah, we skipped some because there were...
Yeah, the list goes on. Time to train. Training is also a very big part of my life.
What do you train for?
I am a half marathon runner with Leopold.
Yeah, we did.
He's a great teammate on that. So I think answering Mark, why do I do it all?
Exactly.
Trying to stay on basis. First of all, because I can. So it's possible to do it. The next part was I have the opportunity to do it. And what a fantastic opportunity it is. So I have the opportunity to take it. Third thing is what an excellent learning experience each of those individual experiences have. And each is different. I've learned a different thing from each of my experiences. And, if I can and I have the opportunity, why not? We're in uni now. We can fail. We can make mistakes. We have this safety net. And I think when you go to the work environment, you don't have that anymore. So you have 3 years to kind of do this. What a great opportunity.
Yeah. You're curious. You want to learn. You're ambitious.
Exactly.
And it's just that in practice, I guess. Like, a lot of people say a lot of things about themselves, but don't really act on it. And so I think what you can show is that, if you take the opportunity and if you trust yourself enough to go to the ends and actually try things out, then it might get you places.
For me, I guess the why part of Mark's question is really, I want to learn. I'm here to learn and I really want to learn.
Did you ever leave a situation where you felt like you missed on learning or you missed on an opportunity, and you think it could explain why you're so focused on learning? Because in the end, I feel like everyone would be wanting to learn, but I think there is a huge difference between wanting something and actually like giving everything to achieve it.
That's another great question, guys. It's tough, eh? Okay, I think the way I can see this now is, okay, my answer to this question is, first, like everybody, I've failed many times in my life. And they've been very painful, and I have really learned from those failures. I think being able to fail again, has told me, hey, look, you can fail and you can learn, and just by failing, you are learning. And why do I want to do this? I think that has made me very ambitious to say, okay, there's no problem from failing. So then from ambition, I've said, okay, what's the best way to grow your ambition? Everything is to learn. And then I say, okay, what are the opportunities that I have? I have all these range of opportunities, some are there for career, some are for personal. Okay, let's see how I can manage them in my schedule. And then, that kind of, it's a bit of a chain. I probably could not make a specific moment in my life.
But is there maybe, like, I don't know, a memory that you have of you failing something?
Many.
That you could share with the...
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. So, okay, back in primary school.
How old were you?
I was 11 years old. Okay. We do the 11 plus exams. And back then, I don't know, I was a different child. I had some learning disabilities, but who doesn't? So the school said, okay, we think it's better for him to go to special needs school, and my parents were like, no. So that was maybe the first failure, was saying, okay, from my first primary school, people said he will never make it past GCSE. So fast forward, I said, okay, well, I actually made it through high school. I made it to the IB. Then in the IB, I had a very personal experience where after COVID, I was failing a lot of my math classes, and for me, wanting to do economics was like, I have to do these classes and I cannot fail. Like, I cannot be moved to a lower class because then I cannot apply. So what I did was I took a textbook out of the library. I said, I'm doing this the old-fashioned way. I took it out. I studied all throughout Christmas. I did not stop. I just kept studying, going. And eventually I was able to come out of my mock exams, because it was COVID, of course, with a 666. So it was a success, and that showed me, I failed, so what? I got up, I took charge of the situation, and then I was able to succeed at the end. Maybe lastly, and kind of nicely linking back to spring weeks, again, I had a lot of success. I was doing very well academically, all these different roles, and I kept failing. I kept never getting in to the spring week that I wanted to do. Okay, I learned from that, saying, okay, what did I do wrong? And again, I showed, okay, just because you're good at a student or you're good at like societies, etc., you need to learn these nuances. So I think these three big failures in my life has kind of allowed me to learn and really kind of say, okay, what's next for me?
And can I ask you, what was the last moment where you stepped out of your comfort zone?
Just 2 hours ago.
2 hours ago when I came into this room.
What is 2 hours ago? I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, these, or if you have, I don't know, something challenging coming up for me.
Yeah, because you talked about when's my next challenge going to be. So what's your next challenge? You have like a big vision. We talked about training a bit. We talked about career.
Yeah, I mean, maybe on a career side, just to start off, I want to get into investment banking. I have this summer. Okay, great, but let's secure the final position. So, you just go one step, you have another step to do. Then start off my career, work my ass off. Sorry, I can't remember if I can say that, but I'll work hard and then try to gain, climb up the ranks within an institution. That will be a very long process. On a more personal side, I think the next big thing that I want to achieve is to really develop a long-lasting relationship with my uni friends. I think actually that's on a very personal side, because what I don't want is for us to go on our exchange, to then start working, and especially for me to lose these relationships that I have. And I think that's tough, because there's never an end, there's not a finish line for that. That's something, and the same thing with a career, it's like that will go on for years. And I think that's the next big challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a challenge.
No, it doesn't have to be a challenge, but it will be challenging along the way.
I think if you put the right intentions, the right effort into it, it's not quantifiable relationships.
No, exactly.
So it's something that of course you work on, but it's not supposed to be work. It's supposed to be enjoyable. At the end of the day, you're doing it for a reason. But,
Of course.
but it's good that you do value that, because I consider myself your friend.
No, of course.
On a lighter tone,
Go on.
we have last few questions. Like, we have our guests that write question to the next guest.
Do we really want to see
Yes.
Oh,
I think this is the question. No, this is the question.
this is the question. So this is somebody who wrote me
You know,
the
we should
previous
start a
interview.
song now. You know, like from Mariah Carey.
So this is a really inspirational question.
Oh yeah, like monumental moment.
Monumental
Very
stuff.
deep.
What do you want for Christmas? What do I want for
I'm sorry.
Christmas?
This is this is the question. I mean, we give
Yeah, great
free,
question. What do
we
I want?
give free leeway to free choice of every guest to choose their question for the next one. So
But
this
isn't
is
it, I
what
feel
she
like we
chose.
should have also questions like that, like very easy peasy. You know, like what's your favorite food?
Like,
yeah,
kind of
because
like
we've been intense on my bad.
yeah, no, actually.
Yeah, sorry,
maybe-
like-
No, it's fine. Actually, what you should do is like just do like a 1 minute fire round. Like you're gonna ask like super basic questions.
Oh, we can do that actually.
We can do
Let's start with Christmas and
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll do one each.
Yeah, like a,
Yeah.
what do I want for Christmas? For me, I would love to have a loyal corner on final for Christmas.
Good answer.
Very good. That's
So
fun.
let's do the concept you talked about. You,
A little fire round.
Yeah, I want to know about your favorite food first.
Whew. Souvlaki.
Yes.
What?
Souvlaki. It's a
What is
Greek. It's a Greek wrap kind of. It's not a kebab. That's very important. It's a gyro. So it can either be pork or chicken. Normally the gyros is like the slice of meat stacked up.
Mm-hmm.
You put on a spike. It then turns around. That's in Greek word gyro, which is round. So it goes round, and then you have the meat, and you have the Greek pita, the tzatziki, tomatoes.
So it's not normal pita. It's a bit more.
No, it's
elevated.
not. Normally the Greek pita is a bit more thick.
Okay.
Like doughy. And I mean, in Greece, it's amazing. I mean, my grandmother makes,
Hmm.
I think, the best souvlaki in the world. But I'm sure every Greek person says that about their grandmother. So yeah,
There you go. Quick questions. All right.
yeah. You're like quick. You're like, oh.
Favorite beverage.
Can I vodka lemon?
Okay, celebrity crush.
Ooh.
Oof.
It
Cool.
needs
I
to
don't
be
know. I've
quick.
thought about that in ages since like middle school. Celebrity crush. That's Cap. It used to be back in the day Scarlett Johansson from the Scarlett Johansson.
Favorite vacation spot.
Summer in Greece and on the islands.
Favorite movie.
Goodwill Hunting.
Yes. Okay. Favorite brand. Doesn't have to be clothing.
No, yeah. No, Nike. I like it. Yeah.
The first thing you look at someone when you meet someone.
Their eyes.
What do you value in friendship the most?
Trust.
That's good.
No, that's good.
Are we?
No, we're keeping it, and I'm thinking about because I had
Okay,
something I wanted to ask. Favorite place to hang out in Barcelona?
Ooh, my living room. To be honest.
Where is it?
Like as Leopold knows, like we're very fortunate to have a big living room, so we have a lot of fun. I mean, in the city in general, Barcelona's a great city. By the beach is amazing. Sumon Bar, we've had a lot of great nights there. Yeah,
Favorite tapa.
patas bravas, for sure.
Okay, a skill you would like to learn.
Skill I would like to learn, probably skiing. Yeah,
Hidden
The-
talent.
hidden talent. I don't know. It's hidden to me. I don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Who knows? What do you value in yourself the most?
Oof, another good question. What I value in myself.
Like, I'm just giving an example, but I'm thinking like you achieve a lot. And I know that some people, for example, they see their value in achievement, other it could be in relationships, other it could be in creation of whatever. What would speak to you? Just between you and you.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world.
And the rest of the world now. I think what I value for myself is the ability to never give up. I think if I didn't have that, none of this would be possible. It's been some long nights. We have exams now, so everybody is kind of like that. But even on a regular basis, it's long hours. It's a lot of work, a lot of stress, and sometimes you say, "I'm throwing the towel." That's
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it? When you're when you're working like until 3 a.m. on a group project, or you're stressing for the finance society because you're saying, we haven't done this yet and that yet, or even relationships, you say, okay, I'm not gonna lose with my friends because I'm always working and I'm not spending as much time as I used to. I think just say, look, never give up, stay calm, keep going. I think that's what I value most about myself.
And I'm thinking about something first. Do you think you would like to have kids later?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to be a father. Not right now. I'm focused on the career, I think.
And how do you feel like you would, I don't know, you cannot define how you would educate them, but what would be something like you would like to teach them?
I mean, listen, I think your job as a parent is to teach your kids, but to teach kids values. I think I'm not a religious person, so I will probably not sending my kids to church, but I think they still need to have that value educational level. So you need to kind of make sure you instill some sort of principles. So never ever give up. When you make a commitment to something, run through with it. When you say A, you say B. You're gonna do it. Value friendship, trust, treat somebody else like you would be treated yourself, and yeah, just so on and so on.
Can you tell us more about like your relationship with running?
Wow. Leopold has been fortunate to be along the ride with me. Well, as I said, I was a pretty overweight child, and then, it's very personal, but I started running because I liked a girl in middle school. She was on the cross country team, and then I was like, wow, look at me, look at her. I know where I need to go. I need to go there. I need to be on the cross country team. So I started running. I was doing like 400 meters around the block, and I was dying. But then you say, okay, next week I do 500 and then 600 meters, and you keep going. And unfortunately, she left the school before I joined the cross country team. So it was a bit of a, life didn't work out. It wasn't like in the movies or anything. And then I had my coach, as I said in the beginning, and then he was really like, okay, you're good. You could be better. And then I had the whole journey of, learning how it's going to work, training. I had an amazing team with me in high school. I learned a lot from them. And then now that I'm here, Leopold, we're running together. And we're still trying to strive for new times, better times. And
yeah, we're pushing each other, like we said earlier. But I think running has a meaning for a lot of people and different meanings. And I think that's what's so great about it. People have different journeys getting into it, and the journey evolves. Like the goals are not the same, No,
exactly.
When you start off and when you keep going, like some people go for time, some people go for spending time with their loved ones, some people go for speed, some people go for distance, and it's just a whole community that's so great. So yeah, we actually got to know each other much better through running because we were running a lot in first year. So yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful relationship that we built through running. So I encourage everyone to go running, and I think Nick would do as well.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're fast, slow, whatever. As we said, like it's just like the level of sport. I understand it's not very appealing to everybody to say like, okay, I don't want to run many kilometers, but honestly, just give it a go. I think many people have the predisposition that it's painful and everything. Of course it is. It's like every other sport. So I think just give it a try.
No human is limited.
No human is limited. Sorry.
How did you end up enjoying it? Because at the beginning you were struggling a bit, and how did it change? When did it change?
I think you like the challenge. I think like as me personally, I like the challenge. That's I think that's very been shown throughout the podcast. So I think for me, running is a great way to say, okay, how can you push yourself to your limit and see if you can keep going? And sometimes it works well, sometimes not. So for me, I think that's where I really started enjoying running. And the distance now is not a problem. Okay, it may get very long, but I like it. So okay, I say, okay, it's tough, but let's see if we can keep going. But I still need to beat him. He's too fast for me. So no matter how tough it gets, he's always faster. So that's a new challenge. So
yeah. So we have a final question that we like to ask our guests. Alice, you can do the honors.
Yeah, what would be the message you would like to share with the StudentID community?
Oh, that's a big responsibility.
The StudentID student community.
The StudentID student community.
Yeah, maybe after listening to this podcast, what would be the final message that you would leave?
Yeah, okay. I think the message that I would give to all students in StudentID is take every single opportunity available to you. Take it, run it 100%. So put your passion, put your everything into it. Learn as much as possible, regardless of the outcome of it. And then immediately afterwards, start looking for the next one.
Always on the grind. Very good. Thank you so much for your time, Nick.
No,
It's been a great conversation. And ladies and gentlemen, Nikitas, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn, Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, we won't disclose your number because
You know,
there's
you
too
seem
many.
to be very strong mentally.
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That was a.
But I think people realize that now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well, feel free to reach me on LinkedIn, Instagram. Always happy to help other students. And thank you for being on the podcast. You guys have been wonderful.
Yeah.
Great interviewers. And thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you around campus. And for the people listening, make sure you send this to a friend of yours that knows Nikitas,
Yeah.
so that they listen to the podcast and let us know any feedback as well. See you very soon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
That's a wrap.
Thank you. That was great.
No worries.